Welcome back to the Greatest Tyranny Chronicles. It's been a long time since we played this game. So we're gonna be a, Oh right, we ended on this, didn't we? Well, anyway, we analyzed all the blood samples we found and recorded the results in this portfolio. And you claim to have the evidence the court is demanding therein. Yes, my lord. Oh, no more dallying then, counsel. Present the pertinent evidence at once. What do you have in your portfolio that proves these witnesses unloaded a firearm at the scene? Oh right, it's this one. Done. What is that? Explain. It's a photographic print taken at Windibank's pawnbrokery on the date of the incident. On the scene of the crime, is it? Is that? A bullet hole? And if my eyes do not deceive me, it appears the bullet is still lodged in there. Yes, as your lordship noticed. The bullet pierced Mr. Windibank's calendar. The date shown being the 16th of April. The very day of the pawnbroker's death. The incident occurred at 1 hour after midnight. This indicates that a separate shot had been fired sometime after the calendar had been set to the 16th. That's right, and while it isn't irrefutable, the defense believes. This is credible evidence that the witnesses did fire a round from their gun at the pawnbrokers that night. Ah! Wow! Order! How does the prosecution stand, Lord Van Zeeks? The prosecution sips. If that is the direction my learned friend wishes to take, the prosecution has no objection. What? Boom! But you'll forgive me for flinging my hallowed chalice aside in disgust at the repugnancy it exposes. Yes, on the night in question, these brothers entered the pawnbrokery illegally. And like the bold baddies they claim to be, opened fire on the new arrivals before fleeing back onto the street. Yeah? Take it easy there, Governor. You're gonna land us in the soup. We had a deal. You weren't gonna get into them details. Tell him, Sulky. Set the blow straight. I have nothing to add. So he knew, did he? Van Zeeks knew their testimony would almost certainly expose the extent of their crimes. It would seem now that I owe my learned Nipponese friend a word of gratitude. What do you mean? What I mean is that you have helpfully confirmed an important fact. To what fact do you refer, Lord Van Zeeks? As has been established at the point of their arrest, a single shot had been fired from the brother's gun. However, if that shot found its target in Mr. Sholmes, then clearly these witnesses cannot be accused of the fatal shooting of the proprietor and victim. In other words, these two men have no material connection to the murder of Mr. Windibank at all. So that's it. Yeah, that's it. We didn't have nothing to do with it. We didn't, Nash. We didn't. That's what I reckon. Your crimes include unlawful entry, intent to steal, perjury, and let us not forget, attempted murder. Quite a catalog, eh, fellas? Nah. We're in for it now, bruh. Now then, let us take a moment to consider the aforementioned great detective, Mr. Herlock Sholmes. It would seem the man patronized the pawnbrokers in question somewhat regularly. Is he going with this? Mr. Sholmes appears to take pleasure in tinkering with eccentric machinery. Eccentric? Says who? Not me. Don't give me that look. He installed a pair of machines like this one in the victim's shop, Oh! That's one of Hurley's red-handed recorders. What is that, Counsel? It is the appearance of a photographic contraption. As your lordship has surmised, it is indeed a camera attached to a small timing device. Every half an hour, it automatically photographs the interior of the establishment. The idea being that if a thief were to break into the shop, he would be caught red-handed. Prosecution has obtained the photographs taken by the device on the night in question. 8 p.m. 8:30 p.m. Dog. 9 p.m. 9:30 p.m. As the court will observe, copious identical prints are produced in quite desultory fashion. Get to the good times. Not the random points of the night, come on. Rather prodigal, I feel. In fact, there are 2 such devices in the victim's shop, my lord. If I may refer the court to the plan of the premises, their respective positions are here and here. You say these cameras produce a print every half an hour. I'm afraid I fail to see how that would help if the anticipated thief conducted his activities in one of the many 30-minute intervals. One can only pray that the would-be criminal lingers, my lord. On the night in question, the witnesses currently in the stand were not caught on camera.
That's a bit old friar tuck, eh, bro? Any luck love the skulking?
What is this? At what time did your trespassing begin?
Must have been just after 1. Right, bro? Must have been, Nash. Must have been. Yeah, I just got 1.
In which case, minutes before these brothers entered the establishment, what scene might we expect to see within the shop? Let us examine the evidence. Oh, good lord! It's the defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade. Well, this is concerning. As the court can clearly see, the accused is pictured, gun in hand, facing the victim over the shop counter. No doubt coercing the proprietor to open the door to his storeroom. Quite. One can only too easily imagine the events that unfolded. The court will take this photographic print as evidence, if you please, counsel. Was this bad? Oh. I don't believe it. Ginny! In short, the accused is the only person who could possibly have killed Mr. Windbank.
Ah!
Knockout. I say, my lord. What if I might put in a word at this point, Mr. Garrideb? Go ahead, Mr. Foreman. Took a ballybud to the knee in the Battle of Maymund, 1880, don't you know? Decorated fort and all that, but forced to retire from service, sadly. We are aware, John. Wars and metal can never outshine the exploits of chaps like us on the battlefield. Yes, Mr. Foreman, and? What exactly is your point? Carried on the battle after retirement, you see? The battle of daily life, if you like. And here I am now, leading this small squadron. 6 men, all good and true. And we'll all go down together, you mark my words. One for all, and all for one. The ladies and gentlemen of the jury have reached agreement, haven't they? Is that what we are to understand? Well, Mr. Foreman, is that correct? Just say it, man. A matter of speaking. Yes, that is the Garrideb Squadron's position, sir. What? No, it's too soon to make a judgment here. That is a vote for the court, men, on the double. His lordship insists on promptitude at all times, and that goes for making decisions, too. I think you'll find the truth is clear as day now. I could reach out and touch it. wouldn't have left it in there. I just wouldn't. But in all honesty, I can't actually remember. Situation clear. Stop. No room for doubt. Stop. Truth now undeniable. Stop. I am very sorry for brothers. They are unlucky. Very well. I now call upon each member of the jury to state his or her leaning in this matter. Announce our considered verdicts to the court.
Guilty.
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 Oh.
Guilty.
No. Well, we're starting off strong here. It doesn't need appear that the jury is unanimous in its leaning already. That photograph. It must be the definitive evidence that Greggs had mentioned. But Ginny didn't shoot him. No, of course not. My lord. The defense wishes to assert its right to a summation examination. Very well. The court grants permission. So, you refuse to admit defeat again. How unsurprising. We shall proceed immediately with the summation examination. Mr. Foreman, are all members of the jury ready?
Absolutely, sir. Always ready for action, my chaps.
Very good. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, will each explain on what grounds you have determined the defendant to be guilty. There is something I was warned of in this trial that I have a feeling is coming up soon. All the evidence clearly points the finger of guilt at this young pickpocketeer. As a housemaid, I should like to see all filthy eyesores promptly and rigorously eliminated. I think you'll find that if you look at that photograph in stereo, the truth will just pop out. If I've left it in there, I should think there'll be repercussions by now. Are you okay, friend? I made up. Stop. Global radio transmission of verdict to follow. Stop. In motherland, we say never judge by clothes, judge by head. I am convinced brothers are innocent. The circumstance of the crime and the evidence do indeed implicate the defendant rather comprehensively. The storeroom, locked from the inside, in which the victim and the accused were discovered alone. In the accused's hand, the fatal revolver, firing of which was heard by these witnesses. Not to mention this print. Take it from a chap who's seen action on the battlefield. That young girl's on the verge of pulling the bally trigger. Thanks a lot, Mr. Sholmes. Oh dear, these cameras were supposed to help, not hinder. Afraid I think you have an uphill struggle ahead of you. But Gina didn't shoot Mr. Winterbank. Which means there's more to this situation that we've yet to see. Agreed. You have the floor, counsel. Proceed with the summation examination. This is going to be interesting. Wah, don't mind me back here.
Hold it!
You're Mr. Natsume's landlord, Mr. Garrett, aren't you? We really must stop meeting like this. Ah, you're that lawyer chap. Well, there's a turn up for the books. Yes, rather a turbulent time we had back then. Some extraordinary events took place at your house, that's for sure. Luckily, Mr. Sholmes and I were able to get to the bottom of it all. I think we did rather a lot for you, didn't we? I mean, obviously. I wouldn't be suggesting that, therefore, you should change your leading to not guilty or anything. Can't be denied, I suppose. Curse of the Garradeb house was the talk of the town after that business. The lodgers moved out and I couldn't get a bally soul to take up the tenancies. Oh. Haven't had the heart to break the news to Joni yet. Bad enough that the old girl's clapped up. Yeah, Yes, can't be denied. You did do rather a lot, but not for us, that's for a dash it's certain. I suppose not. Of course. There can't be no suggestion of that being the reason I'm leaning towards guilty here, obviously. Obviously, but honestly, I really wish he'd pay more attention to the trial and listed juror number 2. Oh, that's why he's all flushed.
Hold it!
Polishing the bench, I see. Again. Really, I think the issue is Mr. Garrett has a thing for maids. A maid's work is never done. Not a blemish must remain. What exactly do you mean by filthy eyesores? When I wait a market for his lordship, I have to pass through the East End. The place is full of beggars, pickpurses, and crossmen, the scum of the earth. Oh. A little harsh, perhaps? Then let me be plain. If it were up to me, all those back slums would be made spick and span, or eradicated. At least we have people like the great detective working to achieve these important goals. You're referring to Mr. Herlock Sholmes? That's right. I like to keep abreast of his exploits by reading Rand's magazine in between my duties. He does wonders, cleaning up London's streets. In my opinion, he should be declared an honorary maid of the capital. Mr. Sholmes? A maid? It's really quite unforgivable. Gutter scum having the audacity to shoot our very greatest detective. Minor detail. It was the 2 brothers in the stand who shot Mr. Sholmes, not the defendant. A minor detail indeed. They're all gutter scum as far as I'm concerned. Well, it just might be an idea to get our facts straight anyways. Yes, all right. I shall amend my statement. Okay.
Hold it!
I agree with you. The shooting of Mr. Sholmes was an unforgivable act. The purpose of this trial was to determine who shot the pawnbroker, Mr. Windibank. I'm afraid you're splitting hairs, sir. Sorry? Whether it was the thieves or the pickpurse, still gutter trash that shot the pawnbroker in the end. Filth that should be cleaned up and eradicated, in my considered opinion. Thanks so much for sharing. Changing this maid's mind isn't gonna be easy. Bruno, it was one of those two brothers that shot Hurley, wasn't it? Yeah, without question. Well then, I'll never forgive them. Oh, Iris. Perhaps we can use this maid's statement to help us somehow, don't you think? Yes, maybe. Let's listen carefully to what each juror has to say first. Juror number 6 mentioned the brothers. We'll get back to that. We'll deal with this guy. This is interesting.
Hold it!
What do you mean look at the photograph in stereo? Sorry, what? Don't you know? If you look at that photographic print normally, it looks as though the pickpocket girl is about to shoot the victim, obviously.
Objection!
But there's no indication that the defendant ever fired the gun. All I'm saying is that if you look at the same print in stereo, it could reveal all sorts of new information. By any chance, are you a fan of stereoscopes? Ooh, how did you know? It's the crossed eyes that gave it away. Let's call it a lucky guess. It's old, seeing those 2 prints merge into one before your eyes. It's extraordinary. It's captivating. It's the height of modernity. Of course. Oh yes, I think you'll find that the stereoscope is here to stay. Giving us new perspectives we could only dream of before. It's the greatest invention the world has ever seen. If only you could give me a new perspective on this case, I might agree with you. Okay, we're not quite there yet. I have a feeling we're going to be doing some stereoscoping in here. What are you talking about? What exactly have you been muttering about all this time, sir? You keep talking about having left something somewhere, or something like that. Ah, so sorry. As you can probably tell, I'm a surgeon. A surgeon? That totally passed me by. Of course, people conducting surgery in this country aren't considered to be doctors. Oh no.
Even though me and my kind are at the forefront of medical science, the real brains in the field.
So what is it that you think you've left behind?
Ah, well, that's a little embarrassing, to be honest.
See, I was operating on someone yesterday. Standard thing, went in through the abdomen. But when I'd finished the procedure, But I couldn't find my scalpel anywhere. What? Did he? Surely not. Exactly. Surely not, you say to yourself, don't you? Worrying, isn't it? That's what's been troubling me this whole time. Could I really have left my scalpel inside the fellow's belly?
No, of course I couldn't.
So, there you have it. Like I said, a little embarrassing, really. That's one way of putting it. The other is manslaughter. That's exactly my concern. And seeing as this case appears to be all but sewn up, I need to focus on trying to remember exactly what I've sewed up elsewhere. Oh, I'm sure I made sure everything was back as it should be. Well, as sure as you can be without being sure. I'm sure you need to be more sure. Okay, that's not going anywhere.
Hold it!
None of these feel like they're going anywhere. Sorry, radio transmission? What do you mean? Are you from the Far East? Stop. Yes. From the Empire of Japan. Stop. All communication with Far Eastern nations used to take place by mail. Royal Mail steamers take more than a month to complete the journey. Ah, but now we have the electric telegram, so we can send messages using electronic signals. Thousands of miles of cables have been laid along the ocean beds, connecting the entire world. Thousands of miles of cable? On the ocean bed? It makes my head hurt just thinking about it. You are well informed, young lady. Hehe, no. But cables will soon become a thing of the past. Stop. And just when I was starting to catch up. Radio transmission is the future. Stop. Messages carried over airwaves to 4 quarters of the globe. Stop. Excitement growing. Stop. Hemisphere electric. Stop. It's going wild there. Right. Try not to wear out your fingers. Era of wireless telegraphy. Stop. Driving technological revolution. Stop. And people say inventions like the stereoscope are the height of technology. What utter piffle. I can't understand it. I really can. They're just silly toys. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Do we want to? Let's talk about stereoscopes. Juror number 3? Sorry to interrupt when you're obviously fuming, but... What? Do you perhaps have something to say about juror number 5's last remark? As if I couldn't guess.
Oh, you bet I do. Say that again.
Go on, I dare you. Goodness, are you talking to me? I think you just might be, yes. You think stereoscopes are just toys, do you? Huh? Absolutely. I mean, really. Machine to view photographs in 3 dimensions. Why on earth would you not just use your eyes to look at the world around you? It's all 3-dimensional. What a great way to appease the man. No, I'm sorry. Stereoscopes are of no practical use at all.
You just don't know.
Pardon? I think you'll find that viewing a photograph through a stereoscope can unlock all sorts of possibilities. Obviously going to have to demonstrate. What sort of possibilities? Well, take a crime scene, for example. You had a pair of photographs from a crime scene that you could view through a stereoscope. It could reveal hidden clues you'd never even noticed before. What? Here we go. Have you got any, Bruno? Any prints we could look at with a stereoscope? Absolutely. How about this print here? That should do the trick, I think.
Take that!
Alright then, juror number 3. Are you saying you can do this with any 2 suitable photographic prints? Of course I can. Very well then, I'd like to demonstrate. I'd be delighted to. Just give me one more print and I'll amaze you all. Eh? It's the only other print we have. We have these. Can we do this, or...? I mean, okay.
Take that!
Wait, sorry? What do you mean, one more print? Oh dear, oh dear. Don't you have these in the Far East? Don't you know how a stereoscope works? Oh no. What? You need 2 photographs for a stereoscope, remember? You know, one for the left eye and one for the right. Oh, yeah, I remember now. The print we have for the pawnbrokery is just a normal photograph. No, I think you'll find. But the clue is in the name. It's a stereoscope, not a monoscope. You always need 2 prints. Thanks for the friendly explanation. Well, if we obtain another print at some point later in the trial, you can always show it to this young man, then... I think you'll find... The know-it-all expression is really starting to annoy me. Okay. I guess let's move on then. Please tell me you're not Villain Bolshevik. A Russian revolutionary? Revolutionary? Nah, I believe there is such a rumor. It's just a rumor? As you see, I have unfortunate appearance. I look like a vicious criminal. Your words, not mine. Just wanted to point that out. People call me revolutionary, murderer, autocrat. And which glove fits? Good day. I am visiting London for sightseeing. I would like to take bus to Crystal Tower, please. Right, that didn't sound staged at all. Forgive me for having my doubts. To be treated like vicious criminal all the time. It is very painful. People do not realize. So I have much sympathies for these brothers. People say they are criminals only because of how they look. The Skulkin brothers? Maybe they went inside pawnbroker's shop. But they have done nothing wrong. That is all I want to say. The Skulkin brothers did nothing wrong that night? Alright, well, first of all, that's one not-so-little misunderstanding I'll need to clear up straight away. Tell me something, Iris. What is it, Runa? The jurors are chosen at random from the inhabitants of London town, aren't they? Yes. It's amazing, isn't it? In that case, how is it that there's a Russian tourist sitting among them who looks for all the world like a revolutionary? Yeah. I wish I knew. I can't change the minds more than half of these 6 jurors. The trial will be over. We know that Ginny would never shoot anyone. Yes, we need to find contradictions in what these jurors are saying and put them against each other. I'm ready to go to whatever lengths I have to convince them of Gina's innocence. Alright, we need their photograph. Oh shit.
Objection!
These two statements clearly contradict each other. Meant to point at number 6, but... Good lord, counsel, please explain yourself. Oh, my statement? Contradictory? Contradict. C-O-N. Juror number 6, you've got the wrong end of the stick. I do not have stick. I have mouse. Juror number 2 said earlier, when the Skulkin brothers fled the scene of the night in question, they fired a shot from their revolver. Yes, they shot poor Mr. Sholmes in the abdomen, I understand. Surely you're not going to tell the court now that you didn't hear. Abdomen. Abdomen. A, B, D. Sir? Sorry. My English is still learning. You are telling the court you didn't hear? Forgive me, I did not hear. Ah, here is word. Abdomen, part of person's body containing stomach and other vital organs. This is what you mean. You should say in plain English. I am Russian, not native speaker. You thought it was a good idea to let this man be on the jury again? So, you are telling me these brothers who look like criminals were lying. They said before, we never done nothing. The truth is, they shot detective. Da, this is a double negative. Yes, that's exactly right. Lying is wrong, especially when lie is said by a person who looks like a criminal. Coming from you, that seems surprisingly prejudiced. This means, when they said we never took nothing, maybe it was also a big fat lie. Is this true? Well, according to the police report, no stolen goods were found, so... Enough. I trust no one now. It's not the mouse's fault, though, sir. I must see with own eyes. I must investigate the crime scene myself. I'm afraid that won't be possible. Yes, it is, Runo. Easily. Sorry? With the prints from Hurley's red-handed recorder. Ah... If you compare the print that pictures Ginny and the next print from half an hour later, you'll be able to see straight away if anything was taken or not. Cooey, Mr. Prosecutor. Tut-tut. Calling on the prosecution in the middle of a summation examination of all times. The print showing the accused threatening the victim after she broke into the shop is this one. Following this, the victim and the accused moved into the storeroom. Meanwhile, the Skulkin brothers entered the shop and summarily heard the fatal gunshot ring out. Sadly, none of these events were captured on film. This is the print produced by the camera half an hour later, after the brothers' flight. This was taken after Hurley was shot, then. As far as I can tell. Nothing has been taken. That does seem to be the case. I can't notice anything that's obviously missing in the second print. So, the brothers who looked like criminals told only one lie. They shot man, but they stole nothing. Would seem so, yes. Good. No, not good. You were right. I did not understood situation. Now I know brothers have lied. I think it is very important to continue with trial. Fair enough. Yay. Well done, Runo. The balance is shifting. Well, it's a start, I suppose. There must be more in what these jurors are saying that I can use to expose the truth. If I can do that, we just might turn the situation in our favor still. Thank you, counsel. Continue with the summation examination. And kindly hand that new photographic print to the bailiff to be filed as evidence. Alright, well, we got ourselves another photograph. Another print of the court record. I wonder if we can make use of that. In Lake of Lives are many dead fish. We must find truth. Therefore I say not guilty verdict. Can't change the minds. Let's drop me over. Okay, represents. Let's press. Can it really show up new clothes, though? Don't know unless you try. How about this print here? Let's do the trick, I think.
Take that!
Alright then, juror number 3. Are you saying you can do this with any 2 suitable photographic prints? Of course I can. Very well then, I'd like you to demonstrate. I'd be delighted to. Just give me one more print and I'll amaze you all. Okay, now.
Take that!
Alright, these 2 prints were both taken with the same camera and window banks on the night in question. Yes, I see. Tell me, Mr. Lawyer, do you know how stereographic images work? Do you understand the principle? Yes. Well, I think so. Did have a lesson only yesterday. Oh, here we go. Left and the right eye images need to be the same, only with a slight shift in the positions of some objects. Then when your brain merges the 2 images together inside your head, it notices the shift as if it were depth. Yes, exactly. Don't do it. It's that small shift between certain objects in the 2 pictures that's really important. Sometimes I use 2 photographs that are exactly the same then. No, obviously that wouldn't work at all. Not for seeing the scene 3-dimensionally anyways. No. Oh. Ooh. Of course, now I see. I think the young girl has discovered the secret. I have. Oh, yep. Fully cross-eyed. Can you uncross your eyes before you tell me? Have a look at these 2 pictures from Hurley's camera, Runo. Go on. The perspective seems slightly different. Can you see that there's a really obvious difference between them? Of course there is. There are 2 people in the first and no people in the second. Well, yes, you can see that straight away. But now, try looking at these pictures in 3 dimensions. Alright, now give it a go. So to start with, you have to cross your eyes. Then try to make the 2 pictures overlap exactly. Let's see if by crossing my eyes I can make the quill pens make the picture overlap in the middle. Wait. Now, did you manage to see it properly, Runo? I feel like... Ah! What's going on with these 2 pictures? Some things on the counter sort of jump out at you. They sort of jump out at you. Yes. That's it, you see? That's the other amazing power of stereoscopes. Other amazing power. Is someone going to explain this? Black magic, eh? Why the deuce do some of the things on the counter seem to jump out at you like that, I think you'll find that if you consider the basic principle of the stereoscope, you'll answer your own question. Basic principles of the stereoscope. As I said before, if you try to look at 2 identical pictures using a stereoscope, it won't work at all. It's the slight shift in the positions of certain objects that lets you see pictures 3-dimensionally. In other words, even though at first glance it seems the objects in the counter haven't moved at all between the 2 pictures, they show that actually, there must have been a slight shift in their positions. I swear the shift was in the camera itself, not the positions of the objects, but... yes, there must have been. Now just hold fire there, sir.
Got a reasonable grasp on this whole cross-eyed business now, I'd say. But why the devil does this shift between the two prints exist in the first place? Well, what's the answer, fellow? Come on, you're the cross-eyed master. What? Me? I haven't the first idea.
You know, Runo, it's quite simple. It is. Just think it through step by step. The first photograph was taken at 1 a.m. Then, 30 minutes later, the second photograph was taken. But the position of some items on the counter appears to have shifted slightly in the interim. So that means? Means that sometime in the half-hour interval, someone must have tampered with things on the counter.
Zookers!
Someone tampered. New information. Stop. Not mentioning the testimony so far. Stop. Yes. We've had to go around in circles a little bit here, it seems. I'm starting to see what I should be aiming at in this summation examination now. Ladies and gentlemen, the question now is clear. We know the items on the countertop were moved, but by whom? Are you suggesting you might know? Of course. I can tell you right now who is responsible for the almost imperceptible shift in the items on the counter. I can tell you right now, I don't know. It's clearly the Skulkins.
Take that!
It was the witnesses currently in the stand, the Skulkin brothers. Wait. This do not agree with what brothers said in testimony before. They said they did not even have to pull dukes from Lucy Lockets. My phrasebook says dukes is meaning hands, and Lucy Lockets is meaning pockets. But is this another lie? Is this what you are saying? Yes, I'm afraid so. Now, hold on there a minute. You can't be sure of that. I quite agree. The accused is a common pick purse, after all. It's perfectly possible that she went through the things on the desk to see what she might steal. I think that's unlikely.
And why exactly?
As you can see from this photographic print, the defendant was pointing a gun at the victim. It would seem, as my learned friend indicated, that she was coercing Mr. Winderbank to open the storeroom door. My learned... Did you just pull the same terminology that Van Zeeks uses on him, my learned friend? In other words, Miss Lestrade's interest lay within the storeroom, not in the main shop, giving her no reason to touch anything on the counter. All of which points to one thing. The Skulkin brothers have omitted key facts in their testimony. But the accused of the pick purse, common gutter trash. Why look any further for the wrongdoer here? Because the Skulkin brothers are thieves, madam. No better. In fact, worse than a pick purse. I believe that these brothers were looking for something on the victim's counter that night. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, if you would condemn the defendant on the grounds she's a pickpocket, would it not at least be right and proper to thoroughly scrutinize testimony given against her by two thieves? Well said. I, for one, would like to hear more from that shady pair. Can you all see now? I think you'll find stereoscopes aren't playthings. You've seen their extraordinary potential firsthand. That stereoscope bit wasn't nearly as bad as I expected. Wholeheartedly agree. Stop. Must purchase after trial. Stop. Return home via Regent Street. Stop. Well, it would seem this trial has yet to run its course. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury have declared their inclinations via the mighty scales of justice. I hereby call this summation examination to conclusion with the balance altered in the defendant's favor. 2 lean to guilty, 4 lean to not guilty. Accordingly, the jury is without consensus.
and I order this trial to continue.
Yay, well done. Oh, by the way. What? You should hold on to this, Runo. You never know where it might come in useful. Twice in one trial would be unusual, surely, but alright. Well, alright. Maybe it isn't the worst stereoscope part yet. Since we've got the stereoscope now, Lord Van Zeeks, you will instruct the witnesses that the court demands additional testimony from them. I'm sure it won't spoil the bouquet to do so, my lord. Iris, you're so short. You're a baby. I've afforded myself another chance to probe that pair about their activities that night, at least. I won't stop probing them until I've proven that Gina is innocent. Break time? Break time. Okay. Back to business then. Order, please. Let us resume proceedings. Witnesses, you will now retake the stand. Why am I here? Presume you heard the defense counsel's summation examination?
Yes, Governor. I did, Gov. I did.
Mr. and Mr. Skulkin.
Oh, blimey!
This is going to be hard work. Earlier in this trial, you gave the following testimony about your actions after you entered Windibanks.
Well, it was Bedlam soon as, weren't it? It was, Nash, it was. Didn't even have time to pull me dukes out of me Lucy Lockets.
However, that was a lie.
So that was a fucking lie. You brothers. God, like me.
The night in question, you rifled through the items on the victim's counter.
You've done nothing of the sort. How'd you figure that out?
You will now give formal testimony once again. You will tell the court precisely what happened on the night in question, and this time you will tell the truth. Each lie that passes your lips serves to increase the severity of your punishment. And that, gentlemen, may deal a crushing blow to your chances of ever seeing the light of day again. A thought worth pondering, perhaps.
Say no more, Gov. We hear ya. We'll blab, we'll squeak, we'll peach.
That was easy. What do you got to say? Legal entry. The whole truth.
All right, we did knock a few things over, but we weren't rifling for nothing. But when we heard the gunshots, see, made us both jump and all that stuff went flying. Lummy, it didn't have to give me a fright. We was thinking the ship would come out the door and get us next. Took everything back where he found it and scuppered. Straight into him in the black. Couldn't have shot the pawnbroker, see? We never even had a chance, did we?
So you admit to the defense's accusation. You did indeed ransack Mr. Windibank's countertop on the night in question.
Not ransack, Governor, no. That's right, Nash, that's right. It's more like we tidied up, yeah.
Frustrated Van Zeek's noises.
Sorry.
By their own admission, these brothers entered the pawnbrokery under dubious circumstances. Or were they panicked and fled on hearing the gunshot, having first made good their mess?
The way you say it, they hardly sound like roughs at all.
We don't, Nash. We don't.
Can he make us sound a bit more cutthroat?
It can't just be coincidence that these men showed up at Winterbank's that night. There's more to their testimony than meets the eye. I'm sure of it. What are we going to learn here?
Hold it!
If that's the case, then why didn't you testify to that effect in the first place?
Well, you know, we ain't exactly squeaky clean, are we? We ain't, Nash, we ain't. If we admitted to something like that, people would think we was up no good. Well said, Ringo, me old China. Don't let land ourselves in even more trouble.
And in fact now, as a result of lying in your previous testimony, that's exactly what you've done. Landed yourself in even more trouble.
That's rotten luck.
Says the rotten apple eater. Witnesses, explain your actions to the court. How did you ransack the victim's counter?
Never ransacked nothing. Right, Nash, right. More like we tidied the place up.
The glare.
Sorry.
What? The old gunshot?
Hold it!
What you're saying is, the sound of the gunshot shocked you so much you knocked all those things off the counter.
Well, it shocked one of us that much, yeah. This bag of nerves needs to learn to keep his shirt on. Well, look, it was loud, all right. Blimey, be dead Granny would have woken up with that bang. Well, he screamed like a blooming baby and fell over on the counter. He knocked over a load of books, a candlestick, and some skull whatnot. Then got tangled in some marionette wood, knocked over a picture frame, and knocked them scales to the floor.
You've really mastered working quietly then.
What a racket. Granny would have been scared black into her grave at a clatter like that.
After she already revived. So in short, the gunshot took you by surprise.
And then some. I mean, it was quiet as a mouse, and then all of a sudden, bam!
Oh?
Excuse me.
Gregsy?
Dr. Gregson, do you have something to add? Like I keep saying, I don't appreciate being lumped in with those scoundrels.
No, something to add about their testimony. You seemed to react just now to what Mr. Skulkin said. Did it make you think of something?
It's probably nothing, of course. I wouldn't even bother to mention it, if only... Well, the fact is, cases don't get solved if you ignore the little details.
How about you just tell us what's on your mind?
As you know, we brought these fellas into the yard for questioning last night. The statement they gave then told a slightly different story to what they're saying now. Did it?
You claimed you heard the victim shout something out before the gunshot.
Might have, Gov. Might have. Don't ring a bell now that you mention it.
Granted, it's only a minor detail, but still. Can't help feeling like perhaps you've been a bit sloppy with your testimony here, eh, fellas? If I discover the witness's testimony has been any more sloppy than it has hitherto proven to be, I shall be forced to bring the very harshest punishment to bear against them.
Easy, easy. We'll get it right this time. That's it. Yep. Talk went back to me now.
Let's speak. Supplement your testimony with whatever details have miraculously returned to your questionable minds, sirs.
Right you are, Gov. Give me that gun.
Hold it!
So in fact you heard the voice and the gunshot almost simultaneously.
We did, Gov, we did.
Although I suppose if you're being honest, we heard a kinda wavering voice before the yell and all.
If you don't want to get shot. Give me that gun.
Kinda thing. Okay, that was... a career in acting tragically missed. Okay, I like these two. They've won me back. And where were the voices coming from? Could you tell?
Of course we could. From the other side of that door behind the counter it was.
From the storeroom, where the victim was found dead. And the voice you heard was that of the victim, Mr. Winterbank.
On me granny's life. Of course it was. On his granny's life. Of course it was.
Your granny too, bruv. So that would mean that you both knew Mr. Winterbank and the sound of his voice.
So that would mean what? What? Ash, what? Any ideas?
Yes, Counsel, indeed it would.
Nah, we didn't know the geezer. How am I supposed to deny it when that bloke in the fancy club has given us the evil eye?
If you value your lives, you will ensure your testimony is accurate and true.
Only Granny's life it is. On his Granny's life it must be.
It's a good job his granny's dead. To summarize then, immediately after hearing the voice of the victim, you then heard the gunshot, causing you to stumble and upset the items on the counter, scattering them over the shop floor.
You make it sound like we're clumsy. Don't forget we tidied up after like good little boys. Anyways, the way I see it.
Hold it!
You're saying that Mr. Winterbank had a gun in his hands.
Oh yeah. That was a sight, eh? Them two waving guns at each other. Must have got pretty heated. I mean, just before he shouted out, we heard the geezer say, "You don't want to get shot."
It didn't really sound like he meant it, more of an empty threat, you could say. Mr. Winterbank was known to keep a revolver on his shop counter at all times. People say that to protect the articles in his keeping, he'd readily put a bullet in someone's head if required. That someone being himself, of course.
Yeah. Good grief, extraordinary devotion indeed, if alarmingly misguided. And he certainly sounded like he was ready to pull the trigger the other night. Only the person he was going to shoot beat him to it. Cooked his goose proper. Bet he wished he squeezed the trigger instead of wasting time shouting, "Give me that gun."
It was directly after those words that you heard the gunshot.
It was more or less at the same time, Gov. Give me that gun. Ah! Wah! Kind of thing.
Yes, a career in acting very tragically missed.
And we were the sound of somebody in the deck. For everything went dead quiet. After that, we done a slapdash job in tidying the place up.
Hold it!
So you didn't try to open the storeroom door then?
Not in your life. It went deathly quiet after that, it did.
With the wind right up at me. Anyway, the door was locked, weren't it? No way that was opening. Yes, of course. It was locked from the inside, or so we've been led to believe.
It was, Gov, it was. From the inside. How did you know? Right, so we had no way of knowing what was going on in there, did we?
Unless there was some other way to get a view of the inside of the storeroom. Like through the keyhole, or a spy hole, perhaps.
Don't ring no bells. Don't light no lights. We had to run before we noticed anything like that. We're still cutting our teeth in this game, see? But one day, we'll really cut the mustard.
Please, cut it out. As we know, behind that door was the victim's lifeless body, with the accused not 2 feet away. Yes, unfortunately. What does this mean? Gina was in there, unconscious, with a gun in her hand. Confirm, would it be correct to say that neither of you set foot inside the storeroom?
That's right, Gov, that's right. Couldn't have you if we wanted to.
Hold it!
Yes, whereupon you fired a shot from your own gun at Mr. Herlock Sholmes.
We were a bit hasty there. We was, Nash, we was. Truth be told, I was already shaking like a leaf when you lot turned up.
If you're shaking like a leaf, don't put a loaded gun in your hand.
Good advice, miss. Good advice. Truth be told, me mind went totally blank.
Before your mind goes totally blank, make sure you don't have a loaded gun in your hand.
Mental note made, miss. And after that, we legged it down the street, but apparently we looked dodgy to the coppers or something, so they clapped the derbies on us and like a winking.
And after you'd been handcuffed, the police found this revolver in your possession, correct?
Well, yeah. Well, listen, that proves it, doesn't it? Eh? We couldn't have shot the pawnbroker, see? We never even had a chance, did we?
Hold it!
And why should we believe that?
Yeah? What? Well, because it's true, isn't it? The place was totally empty when we went in.
At that time, the victim was already in the storeroom, having been forced to open the door by the accused who had a gun to his head. In other words, on the night in question, these two witnesses never even laid eyes on the proprietor of the pawnbrokery, Mr. Windibank. Correct?
You've got it, mister. Down to a T.
So the Skulkin brothers never actually encountered Mr. Windibank. Is that really true, I wonder? That's it? That's the full extent of their testimony? What is it, Runo? You look very fierce. I could pour you some herbal tea if you're tired. Oh, thank you, but I'm fine. Being such a logical thinker, you'll probably laugh. I feel as though these brothers are still hiding something important. It is nothing more than a feeling, though. I've got no proof to support it. Well, feelings can be very logical at times. Sorry? People's expressions, the movements of their eyes, the words they choose. You can take all that in and your brain will be quietly analyze it to come up with a feeling like you describe. You've concluded that there's something suspicious about this testimony without knowing why, that's all. I think you should trust your instincts. Iris. Thank you. Sometimes I think if she's 10 years old, I must be 5. What all do we know? Parishes in pick purse plunder for Ginny. Text planet post trial. Sensational story lower down the front page as well. Look, Ministry Mole. Classified secrets may have been leaked overseas from Ministry of Justice for a 10-year-old. It certainly has her finger on the pulse of world news. It's about secret communications between Great Britain and its allies. Apparently they're being intercepted by hostile nations. Communications are being intercepted, but how would someone be doing that? That's a question, isn't it? I come up with 3 different possible methods so far. Are you looking for a new career, Runo?
No, of course not.
I wonder. Perhaps this is what Lord Strongheart was talking about yesterday. Yes, it could be. It could explain why he has Gregsy running from pillar to post at the moment. Okay, so that's not relevant right now. Hmm. Oh. I know where I need to go. And a gun. It's gonna be the autopsy report. Just a matter of where to present it. E.
Objection!
False.
But his last statement is clearly at odds with this piece of evidence.
I'm sorry, counsel, but I fail to see the connection. Oh. Vincent, would you kindly desist from that wide-eyed, panic-stricken look you're wont to wear?
It's the only panic-stricken look I know.
Okay, so... Not the autopsy report. It says he was shot in the back. But the picture.
Objection!
So he's saying that on the night in question, the victim, Mr. Windbank, was wielding a gun. Is that correct?
Is it, Gov? You've got the picture?
We'll get the rest of the picture next time.
Just wanted to get through that.
Test money while we still could. Until next time, until then, thanks for watching.